My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Dealing with mental health can be hard. All the influencers' posts, articles, podcasts, tips about what to do, what not to do, silence retreats, yoga retreats. My friends tell me to take some me time. My mom says I need a boyfriend. Therapy? Impossible without insurance. Even with, it's expensive.
United Healthcare can help make getting mental health care easier. With Mental Health Complete Plus, provided by Teladoc Health. Unlimited virtual sessions, only $59.99 a month. Visit mentalhealthcomplete.com to learn more.
We talk about being responsible and accountable for what you're supposed to do. Do it the best of your ability, and then be accountable if it's not good enough, or if it is, accept the praise or accept the critique.
In this episode of our season series of champions presented by Signature Championship Rings, we discuss the role of team culture as we navigate the challenges of the season. Cullen Nelson, the 5A state champion from Minnesota, Chanhassen High School, joins us. He was the 2023 Minnesota Football Coaches Association Coach of the Year award winner. We explore how to preserve your foundational values and build community pride within your program, emphasizing the collective responsibility over individual achievements. Coach Nelson shares his Earn It philosophy, which promotes key values like effort and integrity, and highlights systems for recognizing positive contribution amongst all players. We also examine how language can influence the mindset and resilience of your athletes. Be sure to stay tuned for our Winning Edge takeaways following the episode. Be sure to go to the link to learn more about our partner, Signature Championship Rings. Signature Championship Rings is a leading designer and supplier of championship rings, serving over 10,000 teams and organizations. With a focus on quality craftsmanship, easy team ordering processes, and affordability, Signature Champion celebrates every champion and their achievements, making their moments last a lifetime. For more information, visit signaturechampions.com/podcast.
Thursday Night Football is on, and it's only on Prime Video. Touchdown. This week, the new-look New England Patriots take on the reloaded New York Jets in an intense divisional matchup. What a catch. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern with TNF Tonight, presented by Verizon. Not a Prime member? Sign up for a 30-day free trial to stream the game. It's the Patriots and Jets, Thursday at 7, only on Prime Video. Restrictions apply. See Amazon.com/Amazon Prime for details.
On this week's Champions Series, we focus on maintaining and reinforcing the message of our culture, things we've installed way back at the beginning of the year and have worked on all the time. We can't let it go because we're into the X's and O's. So we're going to talk about how we reinforce that as the season goes on. And joining me is a state champion from Minnesota at Chanhassen High School, Colin Nelson. Coach, it's great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So, Coach, this idea of maintaining the focus on our culture, the pillars we set up, the vision, the purpose, all those things that we set for ourselves, it's important that as we get deep into the X's and O's and game planning and opponents, that we're still working on those kinds of things. And we'd love to hear your approach to it, but I think just starting with some of those things that are important to you and define your culture.
Yeah, so one of the things that's unique about Chanhassen High School is this season will be its 16th year of existence. So none of our players, parents, and very few people in our community graduated from high school there. So one of our big deals when we took over was to create a program that people were proud of and wanted to be a part of and be connected to. And so that was the mission, was to do that. And so it's really hard to measure that sometimes in high school football. But we look at how packed are the stands on Friday nights, how much apparel do we sell, how do we do with our fundraising, how many kids are playing youth football in our community. People are out for football. And so all those things are important to kind of try and get a metric for it. But unlike some programs in some places, not wrong or different, our football program is not about our players. It's our community's program. And 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids, they're programmed to think about themselves. That's what they're supposed to do. So we're trying to get them to realize that the program's bigger than them. It's not theirs. It belongs to our community. And so we do that. And our purpose is to obviously help them become better young men, go out into the world and be successful. And I've had great examples of my high school football coaches that absolutely changed the trajectory of my life and why I do what I do. And so purpose-wise, we're working on that all the time. And then our goal is we're not going to run from it. We're going after championships, and we're going to try and do our best to win the right way and keep it in the right perspective. But our community wants us to drive kids to be successful. And when they aren't, and when they don't achieve their goals, support them and build them back up and get them to do it again. Because when they get out in the real world, the first time they interview for a job, probably not going to get it. And that's okay. I didn't get the first job I interviewed for, or the first 5 or 6 head football coaching jobs. I didn't get those. So get them to rebound when they aren't, but they're never going to learn how to work and do it if you don't push to try and be the best and be the best you can. And sports is a great avenue to do that. So those things are all great, and we look at those, but in our place, we really try and look at the how we're going to do those things. And I coached at another school, and I was coaching the running backs, and kids kept saying, I deserve to play, coach. I deserve to get carries. And maybe they did, but the reality is they needed to earn it. And there's a big difference to me. Like, you deserve to be treated with respect, and you deserve to have a chance to be a part of the team. Like, those things, you're kind of reliant on other people. But when you earn something, they can't take it from you. It's really meaningful when your parents give you your first car. It's cool, but it's not as cool when you buy your own. So I kind of turned it into this earn it acronym, and then kind of had to figure out like what words fit and what were important. And so the E for us is effort, and trying to get kids to do the best they can and all that they do, and classroom, hallway, practice, weight room, game night, obviously, and at home, and trying to give great effort. And then positive attitude, can-do attitude. I haven't found anybody yet who accomplished anything great with a negative attitude. Those type of people aren't fun to be around. It's not enjoyable. So trying to have that type of attitude where we're in control of how we're feeling about things. And then the R is resilience. The more adversity you can overcome in life, the more successful you're going to be. We don't like having to be resilient. We've had to be the last couple of years a bunch, and it's worked out way more than it hasn't. But like I said, you're probably not going to get the first job you interview for. And what are you going to do? You're going to get a bad grade in college and going to hit those stumbling blocks. So just trying to get them to keep battling through, because the more you overcome adversity, the easier it becomes. And then kind of cheated on the N is no excuses. We talk about being responsible and accountable for what you're supposed to do. Do it to the best of your ability, and then be accountable if it's not good enough, or if it is, accept the praise or accept the critique. And then integrity. And integrity, I don't know about other people, but I think it's a really hard word to sometimes wrap your head around. We all know what it means, but how do you know if someone has it? You don't really. And sometimes I don't know if we always know if we have it, but we measured in. Are you doing the right thing when nobody's looking, or are you doing something that benefits someone else, not yourself? So trying to get kids to do that. And then I think the hardest one in high school football is together, right? Trying to stay together, play for each other, with each other. 11 dudes on the field got to understand that the 65 on the sideline are really important to success, and the 65 on the sideline got to understand that they're responsible for the success of the 11 guys on the field. And when the better teams we've had that I've been around that have done that, the more successful we've been, or the better chance we've had to win games. And after the 2022 season, we lost by 2 points in the section championship game, and we're 8-2, and really disappointed that we couldn't go to the state tournament the first time. And really thought about, the kids did. They gave great effort, positive attitude. They were resilient, no excuses, integrity, and together. And that's what really made it rewarding. And I was able to look back over my career and say, when people did those 6 things it was rewarding whether or not we won the last game or we didn't win the last game, because more often than not, you're not going to. And so the better job we do controlling those, the more enjoyable the experience is. And then reality, particularly to the kids, and they can understand it, the more fun they have. When people aren't doing those 6 things, it's just not a very enjoyable experience.
At Sephora, we know how you love to use makeup, skincare, hair care, and fragrances that work for you, but also how important it is to be in the know about the ingredients that are in them, which is why we created Clean at Sephora. Curated products from brands like Merit, Amika, Summer Fridays, and Fleur that have everything you want, minus certain ingredients you might not. Clean at Sephora is only at Sephora. Shop now at Sephora.com.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
I appreciate you sharing a picture of what your culture looks like and the things that are important to you. And looking at things in the middle of the season, we want to make sure as coaches that we continue to be intentional about how we do things. Obviously, we want these showing up as behaviors in practice on game day around the school, but that doesn't mean we can stop, reminding kids, stop teaching them, stop reinforcing what they're doing. So what kinds of things do you do throughout the year to reinforce? It's like I've seen your picture with your earn it sign, so there's something to that too. But other things that you're doing to help build your culture, really, you don't stop building it. It continues on through the season.
Yeah, so what we do every week, the kids, starts in the summertime, but we keep it going all year long on Thursdays. The players, so let's say, in their position group, let's say the left guard was the earn it yardstick, because every yard matters, right? And they're paint him up and put earn it on there. But he identifies who's the guy who he thinks in his position that does the best job earning it during the week. And we do it before the game. We try and be intentional about that, because it's not about who was the best player in the position group during the game. But inevitably, whoever got that earn it yardstick, whether it's in the varsity game or in the JV game or even the next week in practice, plays the best and gives us the best look and improves the most. And so we'll do O-line, D-line, skill guys on offense, linebackers, because we're 3-4, so we got a bunch of them, and then our secondary. And it's really trying to get the players to identify those things that they see and catch each other being good, catch each other doing what we want, right? It's really easy all the time to catch someone when they're not doing it. I've learned over the years as a classroom teacher and in coaching that the more I can recognize and acknowledge and catch the kids that are doing what we want to do, the kids that aren't doing what we need them to do it less and less, or they don't want to be a part of it anymore in football. Nope, this doesn't fit for me. I don't want to, this isn't what I want to be a part of. This is what I want to give my time to. And we still love them and support them and want them to do well. But that's okay too, because it's a lot of time and effort. So that's kind of one thing that we do on a weekly basis with our kids that they have ownership of, and they get excited about it and they write their name on it. And it's been really good for us. And then at the end of the year, they vote on the guy who does the best job in their position group, and they get a cool one with steel cut out of it. But one of the other things we do is we have a unity council where they get voted on by their peers, and I meet with them once a week for 45 minutes or so. Try to get it in every week. Sometimes we can't at school with the schedule that's built, but we're usually pretty good about it. And we'll watch about a 20 or 30-minute clip of a movie that helps kind of reinforce those traits and maybe brings out some other things that are important to talk about with kids. And we've used it a couple times. We used it last year. It was the movie Dawn Wall, about these mountain climbers that climb the Dawn Wall surface of El Capitan. And I'm going to get wrong all the technical parts, but it's a really long journey that Tommy goes through, and it has to get there and all this adversity he faces and things he has to overcome. And And then those can't do it alone, so he's got to find somebody to do it with him. And then his partner isn't quite carrying it, and he could accomplish the goal on his own, but decides, no, I need to bring him with. I need to support him. And there's a couple of really impossible, like, maneuvers or climbs that they need to make. And so have kind of a questionnaire that the kids fill out as we go, and then pause or stop it and then say, okay, what are some lessons that apply to us that we can learn from this? How does this carry over to football? But more importantly, how does this carry over to your life, right? How are you going to use this when you get beyond high school football or outside of the walls here, where everybody in here is rooting for you? When you get outside there, not everybody is. And it was a really good way to kind of get the kids off their phones, not listening to me talk, get them watching something that they hadn't seen before, and talking, reflecting their own, and interact together. And it was a pretty powerful tool. The second time I've used it with a team, but the last time was a few years ago, so none of these kids were a part of it. And our Unity Council has 9th through 12th graders on it, more 12th graders than 9th graders. We added kids every year to their grade, but trying to teach those younger kids how to lead with those older kids in that setting. Talk about leadership as well, but really try and find more ways to show how our culture and how those parts of Earn It, that environment, that we can see those in other people and other areas of their life, so they can see when someone doesn't have it or when someone's not doing it, but more importantly, see when it is and what that feels like and looks like and the results that can bring people as they move forward. Been pretty powerful for us.
Yeah, Coach, I love you giving us a peek inside what Earn It means to you and how you develop your culture and how that continues over the course of the season. And it's a great topic to share here in the middle of the season. So hopefully somebody is looking for that kind of information, inspiration, a lot of ideas there from it. But I want to thank you for taking the time for joining us here on the podcast, and wish you and the Storm best of luck the rest of the way.
I'll add one thing, Coach, that I think is really important too. And I'm not saying our kids weren't resilient this year, because they were, but sometimes you got to speak it into existence, right? Like sometimes you got to tell them, you're resilient. You guys are. Like, you got to find an example, even if they're little ones in practice, and then build those little examples of being resilient into a big example. And like for us, like there were times games were close, or we needed to, a kid may have dropped a pass and he catch one, but like for us now, we've got the gold standard. Like we were down 14 in the first quarter in the section championship game against the team we'd never beaten ever in the history of our school, stopped us from going to state a bunch of times. Then we get down to them by 14 in the fourth quarter with 10 minutes to go and come back and win. So now we've spoken into existence, like our kids are resilient and do those things, but sometimes you got to tell them, right? Because they believe you. They look to you. So I think you can help your kids being resilient by telling them they are, right? And so I do think you can speak it into existence, and now our kids will tell you how resilient they are. They're sold, right? But if we didn't tell them and identify it, I don't think they necessarily stumble on it themselves. So that would be another piece I appreciate being on, but I just really want to make sure that I think coaches know they have the power to help those kids believe those things. So when they go in the world, they go, I'm resilient, I can handle this. Not like I had to call coach and ask him what to do. No, he already caught me and got me in that spot. So
yeah, well, Coach, again, I appreciate you taking the time, and best of luck to you and the Storm the rest of the way.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Have a good rest of the day.
Here's our Winning Edge takeaway from our conversation with Coach Nelson. Really, the most impactful thing is the importance of consistently reinforcing those core values that you installed with your team back in January. You want to continue to build that culture throughout the season. Coach Nelson emphasized that maintaining focus on your foundational elements, and for him, it's effort, attitude, resilience, and accountability, is essential even when you get immersed in the X's and O's, which we all tend to do. If you are enjoying the podcast, please go to your favorite app and rate and review. It helps other coaches find the podcast and helps our game. Be sure to check out our sponsors. They're listed in the show notes and in the 10% Toolkit. These are companies that we believe in, and they also provide some great benefits to you as the listener. So check those out in the 10% Toolkit. The list is in the show notes. Be sure to check out our new episode each week, the Coach and Coordinator National Coach of the Week, presented by Modern Football Technology. That'll be out every single Wednesday, and we'll be highlighting some of the great high school coaches from around the country. Follow all we're doing at coachandcoordinator.com and follow us on X at Coach K. Grabowski.